Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the August 29th, 2024 edition of the Pre-Market Prep Session. I believe this might be our last session for August. Yes, it is. As I stated in the group a little earlier this week, I will be out of town, leave tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. So it's that time of the year again, fantasy draft season. I will be drafting another team that will lead me to the championship, as I have every year except for one. So that's time. It's time to go in and dominate and bring that same 1% better daily, outlook to the world of football. I laugh. I can't even say it with a straight face because it's just like we're literally just talking about picking guys to perform on an NFL football field, and it is not that deep, but it is that deep for me and the boys. So it'll be exciting, fun draft trip, and hopefully coming back, with a team that can hold it down and get me to the chip again. But no pre-market live stream tomorrow because of that. And we'll, finish this week strong with some really good analysis to carry us through the week. There are a lot of fun things that are moving, right? A lot of fun things that are moving, a lot of overlooked sectors that are getting a lot of love right now. I mean, you saw Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway become $1 trillion company yesterday. And a lot of people didn't really think too deeply into that, right? You see it, oh, okay, we've just got, another wealthy person becoming wealthier. But there's opportunity for you as well, just in that headline, right? Your mindset is the lens through which you perceive opportunity. And the reason why you look around and you say, man, everything is so dry. This world has nothing for me. There's no opportunity, blah, 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 is because you just don't have the correct mindset, right? When you see a headline like that, you know what that is, an opportunity for you to make money as well, if you know where to look, right? Because there's a certain industry that Warren Buffett is involved in and then Berkshire is involved in, that is crushing it currently. And there are a number of names specifically within that industry that look great for long-term opportunity. And I'll be going over those today for my group members, right? Partly in the Loom video and then partly during the live Q&A. But that's, I say all that to say that you've got to make sure that you go and you learn things that can help. You learn things and you learn practices that can help create a new mindset for you, a new formation of neural pathways, right? That will allow you to see opportunity where other people see nothing, where other people just see another headline or another this or another that. There is so much opportunity if you're able to open your eyes to it, right? But you got to take the time, right? It's not going to be fun, but what is? It's fun to learn stuff knowing that you're going to be better from it. But when you have to sit there and you have to be bad at something, that sucks. But you've got to be bad at something until you're good at something, right? You've got to be bad at something until you're good at something. It's like me with pickleball. I like playing pickleball. Am I the best? Absolutely not. Right. Well, a member here of the Stock Options Made Easy community, right? My man Ben. Ben smacks me in pickleball like every Wednesday, literally every Wednesday. He's so good. And then, it's like it's an exchange of knowledge. He learns about market stuff from me. I learn about pickleball stuff from him. So you've got to suck at something, and you've got to suck probably for a bit, right? You've got to suck for longer than you would like to suck if you're trying to learn something and you're trying to do it consistently and do it well, right? You're not going to be good at it to start. But the key is recognizing the opportunity is there and not questioning it and just rolling with it. Once I see something demonstrated, I don't need anything else. Right. I've seen it in action. I know that it works. I'm gonna go after it. You can question everything in 2024. Like you can, oh, I don't believe this, I don't believe that. Cool. That like everybody is at this point lives in their complete own reality. And AI has gotten so good that you can legitimately question everything. But then what do you believe? Right? What do you actually believe? So if you resolve to believe that opportunities are out there and those opportunities are meant for you, then they will be. But if you also resolve to believe that every opportunity you see is fake and it doesn't work and it couldn't work for you, then they won't. Right? It's very simple. What you fight for is what you get to hold on to. If you fight for your excuses and your limitations, you get to hold on to them. And it's as simple as that. If you fight for opportunity, you fight for monetizable opportunity, you fight for fulfilling opportunities, then you get them. But if you just spend your whole life like, yeah, nah, doesn't work, fake news, scam, doesn't work, hopeless, you'll get exactly that, right? And that's the easy way out. And we weren't put here for the easy way out. The only way you get fulfillment is by overcoming obstacles. So let's do that today here as we dive into our last live stream of the week. As always, we're here to do one thing and one thing only at the pre-market prep session and within the Stock Options Made Easy community, and that's get 1% better. We're looking to do that daily, day after day after day. And then everything that you're looking to actually happen will be a byproduct of that. If you get 1% better daily, you'll find a lot of things in your love life, in your familial life, in your personal life, in your professional life, falling into place. And you're like, wow, I thought I had to go through and actually solve each one of these things individually. But it turns out when you just focus on the root issue of everything, a lot of things fall in place. Wow, now my money's flowing a lot better. My boss isn't always tattling on me. My coworkers like me more. My wife is actually sleeping on the side of the bed near me instead of on the full opposite side of the bed. Or you find all these things when you start focusing on getting 1% better that just start to fall in line and they become easy. And it's by doing consistently the things that you think are hard, but really it's just you fighting to keep and hold on to your fears and your limitations. So let's let those go because you can't accept something if you're holding on to something else. Let's let go of our limitations, let go of our fear, and then receive what's meant for us by getting 1% better here today. All right. And we'll dive into that exact thing now. Our top news, debt relief. It's one of the speediest and largest sovereign debt restructurings in recent times as Ukraine launches the next counteroffensive against Russia. The country has worked out a new deal that will result in relief for its more than $20 billion in international bonds. Quote, this is an important step on Ukraine's path to restoring long term economic stability and will enable our swifter re entry into international markets once the security situation improves, according to Finance Minister Serhiy Marchenko. Now, backdrop, the last time Ukraine restructured its sovereign debt was in 2015, which came shortly after Russia's annexation of Crimea. Following a full scale invasion in early 2022, bondholders granted a 2-year suspension on payments, but it has not been enough as the attacks continue on cities and infrastructure. Expenses have not only ballooned for financing Ukrainian defense, triggering broader discussions in recent months about potential haircut and other support mechanisms. About a potential haircut and other support mechanisms. This time around, bondholders agreed to accept nominal losses of 37% on their holdings, relinquishing $8.7 billion of claims. The agreement also lowers interest rates and postpones due dates for bonds, which Ukraine forecasts will save its economy $11.4 billion over the next 3 years. Elsewhere, the IMF is scheduled to meet Ukrainian officials next week to decide on loan disbursements tied to its budget outlook, while GDP warrants with other debt holders are likely to be renegotiated. Now, Outlook Ukraine has raised a total of $90 billion to fund its war efforts since 2022, but is looking for more financial help as it faces a budget deficit of $43 billion in 2024 and $35 billion in 2025. The U.S. has been one of the nation's biggest contributors over the past 2 years, allocating $175 billion in support for the country. Wow. Of the total amount approved by Congress, 117.4 billion has gone towards military, sheesh, security and weapons assistance, with the remaining 57.4 billion earmarked for budgetary funding, economic assistance, and humanitarian aid. It is expensive to fight wars, man. Wow. I mean, people forget, because we haven't had a world war or anything in a while. Knock on wood, hopefully we don't for a long time coming. But yeah, war is expensive. War is expensive, and it's those. I mean, it starts to add up. I mean, when you look at the fact that we launch missiles and we launch rockets that cost millions per rocket, like that is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Like whole fortunes are just eaten up um through war because it costs so much. Yeah, and that's where we're at with it. I think we all know, kind of what we've been having to deal with in terms of having to see all this money go over to Ukraine. So I won't harp on it too much. Um, and people argue over the validity of it or if it's a waste of time, waste of money, whatnot. A lot of people don't know of the how small the world is and really how important controlling Ukraine and having control over Ukraine is. If you think food prices are high now, Imagine what they'd be if Russia got their hands on Ukraine. So I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I'd send all that money to Ukraine, but listen, couch warrior at home who's got chip crumbles between his cushions and can't cut his toenails because your belly's so large. I doubt you know as much as you think you know about geopolitics and the way that the world works and how interconnected the supply chain is and how important this small country that you've never heard of is in terms of trade, in terms of commodities. Like it's a very important area, right? The ports that are near it, all of that stuff, very important, and that's the reason why the U.S. is throwing so much money behind it. The U.S. only throws money behind stuff that it cares about. So on the flip side of that coin, you can see why there's like underserved communities and after school programs that haven't gotten invested into and set up, and I don't know, rehabilitation programs instead of just investments into private prisons, right? Which are essentially just money factories. It's like, the US throws money in areas that are important to it. And Ukraine is one of them just because it's such an important foothold. And if you need to see the importance of small footholds, just read up on some war history, Napoleon, any of them. Um, but yeah, this doesn't really affect what we're doing regarding markets or trading markets. So nothing in that regard, but just kind of more things to think about as you actively break down how news affects markets and what you should take into account, what you shouldn't. Something that it definitely does is this little recap of NVIDIA, right? So in AI news, NVIDIA recap, you called it. Trading following NVIDIA's results was a wild card. The stock slumped 7% after hours to $116.95 a share on Wednesday, despite the AI darling's impressive results and guidance, along with a $50 billion buyback. That's the thing. Like they can continue to hit it out of the park, and it just doesn't matter for the stock price in terms of what we do after earnings. So if you're playing earnings, I always say, and I'll continue to say it, if you would not flush it down the toilet, don't play it on earnings. Don't, because it can go either way. It does not matter if they beat. It doesn't matter if they beat on the top line and the bottom line. They can still go down or just go flat, which is what Nvidia will likely do. Right? I don't think they're still down significantly. A little bit down, but kind of flat. Right? They're not down whatever this was 7%. They're not down nearly that. Maybe 3. But it's just the IV crush of that is insane. There's no reason to be around for that. Like go and take advantage of high probability moves and roll with those. But trading earnings is not a trading strategy. It's not, it's fun that you have on the side, right? It's fun that you have on the side. If you have a good technical setup and you also have earnings coming up, then yeah, it's fine to do that, right? But if you're just out here just, free balling, like we did that with the firm, and a firm crushed it for earnings, but a firm also maintained what we needed it to do technicals wise in order to stay in a firm, right? A firm had a really nice daily bull flag, and it fired that and it held breakout, right? Held breakout that it retraced multiple days, and then now it's up over 20% overnight, and those are firm calls are going to cash us out, right? To make for a fine Thursday. If you have technicals that line up with earnings that's coming up and you see volume, then yeah, you can make a play. But just to be involved in NVIDIA because you think NVIDIA will do well since it always does well, what does that mean? It means that that's priced in, right? That's like if your kid who always eats A pluses and you expect him to get an A plus and he comes home with an A. It's like, well, typically you give me A pluses, or even if they give you an A plus, it's like, all right, nice, you did the normal. No one gets excited for the normal, but your kid that normally brings home C's and D's, if they bring home a B, it's a party, right? That's how you have to set yourself up for earnings. And how they set themselves up is raising the bar astronomically high, so that even when they have astronomically, impactful results, they don't really move the needle too much. So just Nvidia has moved big in the past, just didn't move big this time, and that's something that you got to take into account. NVIDIA has since paired the losses and is now down only 2% in the pre-market session. Who knows if things can even turn positive once the analyst notes begin to pour in, with Hunter Wolf Research already reiterating a strong buy rating following the latest numbers. Seeking Alpha Investing Group leader Victor Durganov also commented that NVIDIA's earnings were excellent, but the market likely wanted more. Yeah, who knows what happens once the bell opens up, right? Um, NVIDIA could go ahead and go crazy. Let me see where they fell to. Did they fall to an interesting spot or no? Maybe, just maybe. We'll see. We shall see. Getting back into it here on the move, super crash, staying in this whole semiconductor space. Super microcomputer ticker SMCI plunged 19% on Wednesday after disclosing that it would not be able to file its annual 10K report on time. I saw more put volume coming in on SMCI. I just didn't want to be involved. I did not feel the need to be involved. Like if something's tanking like this and it's tanking on news, I'm the type where I'll just let it tank. Um, like same thing with what was it? Who caused the big outage? CrowdStrike, Crowd, right? Like I'd rather I'm just going to let you do your thing, and I'm not going to sit here and chase and wonder about because you get into weird mechanics when you have these big emotional moves and sell-offs and things like that, and they can be tough to navigate. And what they really do is use up a lot of mental capital that you should be putting toward other areas. So SMCI not something that I pay attention to, and you've got to choose that wisely in markets. People always say, "Oh, were you in on this and were you in on this and were you in on that?" No, right? There's no way to be, and you've got to be fine with that. I'm fine. I miss plenty of things, thousands of trades a day. I miss each and every day. The FOMO should be excruciating, but it's not. Why? Because I know that each and every day I'm going to continue to miss thousands. There's no way for me to hit all of them, right? It's not possible. Not even AI could do it. There's too much. There's too much happening. Um, so, it kind of helps you to stay at net neutral. But yeah, the biggest thing is just to stay away from them. Like I'm not buying puts on them, but I'm also not buying calls on them. That you just let that get sorted out. Um, Quote, additional time is needed for management to complete its assessment of the design and operating effectiveness of internal controls over financial reporting. Translation, we cooked our books and we need time to uncook our books or maybe just slightly sear them so that we all don't go to jail. The update came a day after Hindenburg Research News short report uh, claimed evidence of accounting manipulation. Seeking Alpha's Alpha Picks service, which has recommended Supermicro to investors, also weighed in on the news while things are getting heated in the comments section. Yeah, I'm sure they are. But yeah, SMCI, unfortunate. I'm not like a long-term holder or anything of SMCI. But something that was a big headline maker, history maker with the year it had this past year. And yeah, it might have been too good to be true. Trending news DEI backlash continues. Ford, ticker F, is the latest company to scale back its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, joining several other U.S. firms who have revised their policies amid increasing pressure and online criticism. The automaker will no longer participate in the Human Rights Campaign's Corporate Equality Index, while it has refocused employee resource groups and is shifting some of its corporate sponsorships. Activist and political commentator Robbie Starbuck claimed credit for pushing many companies to modify or eliminate their DEI initiatives, with Lowe's revealing a policy shift earlier this week. Robbie Starbuck just on a tear right now, laying them up and knocking them down, um, fighting the good fight. That is completely facetious. I'm just making fun of, the fact that people put that much energy into this. But yeah, I'm sure it'll benefit Robbie. Today's markets in Asia, Japan, flat, Hong Kong up 0.5%, China down 0.5, India up 0.4. In Europe, London up 0.3%, Paris up 0.6, Frankfurt up 0.6. The Dow up 0.5, S&P up 0.2, NASDAQ up 0.2, crude up 0.3, gold up 0.7, Bitcoin down 0.2. I mean, Bitcoin just hangling and dangling around 59K, 60K. 8:30 a.m. today, GDP Q2 numbers. Let's see if that's moved anything. Looks like right at 8:30, we like popped and then just dropped back to net neutral. So no immediate ramifications there for the GDP numbers. We got jobless claims data as well at 8:30 a.m. And then we've got a few things like we've got wholesale inventories at 8:30 a.m., retail inventories, jobless claims, corporate profits, GDP Q2. We got a lot of like random pieces of information here this morning, dropping at 8:30 a.m. and then pending home sales index at 10 a.m. So that could be one of those things that causes some volatility at 10. We'll see, but I'm not too worried about it. What else is happening? Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway Berk B joins $1 trillion market cap club. Salesforce ticker CRM gains as results beat estimates. CFO steps down. Yelp ticker Yelp, sues Google, ticker Goog, over alleged search monopoly. Outage impact, CrowdStrike falls after slashing guidance. Speaking of crowd, Oniok to buy Medallion, major stake in Nlink for 5.9 billion. U.S. House Committee sends warning to PBM execs over testimony. Tesla sought lower Canada tariff on Chinese-made EVs. And then leadership rejig. Adam Reimer names Chipotle's ticker CMG next CFO. And then Supreme Court to hold on student loan relief plan in place. And then will OpenAI be valued at over $100 billion in new funding round? We'll just have to wait and see. But we're coming up on very exciting times in markets and times that allow for very big opportunities. So just make sure that you're in position to take advantage of them. Don't say, "Oh, well, I missed this and I missed that and I missed that, so I'm just destined to miss everything." No, you're not. Right? Execute. Then get started. Get 1% better daily, and then make sure that by the time things start popping off and we get rate cuts in September, you know what that means. You're ready to execute. You know what sectors that you can look to for bullish movement, where you can look to for bearish movement, and you can make sure that you are putting food on the table and using your money to the best of its ability. It's a tool that can really go out there and be used as a magnet to recruit more of it. But it's all based on you, right? Your success in this game of markets and really in this game of life is all based on you. So make sure that you're focusing on that game of you versus you getting a little bit better each day, and you'll really start to see things fall in place and see things flourish, right? But you gotta suck. You gotta suck at things for a bit, and then you get better at it and better and better. And now suddenly life is on easy mode. And that's what we want. At least in certain aspects. You always want to challenge yourself. That's the only way you feel something. Anyways, hope you guys felt something from today's session. I won't be here tomorrow, so I have a great long weekend, holiday weekend, off on Monday. So I'll see you guys. It'll be a long time, right? Don't go gray on me, but I'll see you back here on Tuesday for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one. Peace.